This is episode 5 of the Emotional Freedom Podcast, and today we talk about how to not suck at what you do. Stay tuned. Hi, welcome to the Emotional Freedom Podcast. I'm your host, Luke Bong, and I'm so happy that you are here today to join me on today's episode. Now, this episode, we are going to talk about how to not suck at what you do. And why do we want to talk about that? You see, I noticed that a lot of people, myself included, when I was just starting out, I was always very busy getting ready. And so much so that I fell into the trap of I'm perpetually in the process of getting ready to get ready. Needless to say, ended up I procrastinated, I didn't do the things that I told myself I would do. And as time passed by, what happened was I started to feel more frustrated. I started to feel as if, why am I not doing anything? And eventually, certain things that I thought I wanted to do, I ended up not doing it. But it came to me whereby, unless we start to do some things, we will never become, I should say it like this, we will never have given ourselves the chance to become good at it. So today I want to share with you how to not suck at doing things. Now, I want to share with you, this is something that I learned from one of my teachers, Russell Brunson. Now, for those who don't know who Russell Brunson is, this guy is an amazing marketer. And he is amazing because he can just sell you anything. And we might be thinking, this person is probably a born salesperson. But after I studied his life, after I studied his how he learned his craft, I noticed that he wasn't born a salesperson. In fact, he was actually a college wrestler. But one thing led to another. He got married when he was still in university and he needed to make money to support his wife. He started to do selling. And at first, he was really bad at it. So in his own words, he sucked at it. But eventually, he became very good. And this is something that he said, which I thought was really good. So I want to share it here with you guys. All right. Now, what he said is this: you will suck. Just get over it. You will suck at first. And even though you are going to suck, you must continue doing it simply because the more you suck at it, the more you do it, what will happen eventually is you are going to start to suck less, and that's when you begin to become good. Now, I know I use the word suck a lot. Basically, suck just means that you are bad at it, all right? So, to me, I take it that in order to become good at something, you have to give yourself the permission to become bad at it first. And not to give up halfway, not to give up when you have not done everything yet or you have not tried it yet. I know. What we want is we want to get the approval of people. We want people to like what we do. But the fact is, we can't really please everybody. We don't know for sure how people will actually feel about what we do. Chances are, some may say, wow, it's a great job. And some other people may just say that, nah, it's not that good. So if we follow what Russell Brunson teaches, basically it's like this: do it even though the others around you don't say, they don't feel like it's good, or even you yourself feels like, gee, that's bad. Because unless you give yourself the chance for you to get over that, you will never really be able to go to a stage whereby you will be really damn good. Now, I want to share with you, this is my own personal experience. I have been doing training for 10 years. This is basically my 10th year doing it. And when I first started off as a trainer, one of the feedback that I always got from people was this: look, how did you get very good presentation skills? How were you so engaging in front? How could you get all your audience, to really enjoy the class and to really participate in what you teach? Now, one of the things that I did not tell them was that before I became a trainer, I had plenty of training doing presentation already. It all started when I started off as a part-time English tuition teacher. And that was simply because my family, my mom and dad weren't earning enough of money, and I had to supplement the household income with an additional part-time job after my full-time day job, right? Now, at that time, I absolutely would not want to be a teacher. And my dad, I remembered when I was after Form 5 in 1995, my dad said, "I'm sorry, son, I can't afford to send you to study law." That was what I wanted to do originally. And he said, "Why don't you go and be a teacher? Because being a teacher, you get a stable income, and basically it's like an iron rice bowl, meaning to say you will probably never get retrenched as a teacher." I told my dad, I said, "No way will I be a teacher. It's like, look at me, I'm not a teacher. I'm not going to be a teacher. I hate teaching." So off I went and studied business instead. But when I came back, because, we just couldn't make enough of money, I applied for a position as a part-time tuition teacher, teaching English. And here is something, all right, guys. Never say never. Never say never. After just 2 weeks teaching a group of students who were really weak in English, I literally fell in love with it because for the first time, I felt as if I was making a difference in my students' lives. I mean, can you imagine? These were students whom the center was telling me they weren't very interested, so they asked me to prepare my mindset so that, don't get too disappointed and all that. In the first 2 weeks, the students were very engaged with me, and I fell in love with teaching. So I think 2 years after that, I quit my job in a hotel at that time to become an English teacher. Now, that was when it all started, because after I became an English teacher, I decided I want to do something even more. So that was when I enrolled as a lecturer in business in a private college here in Miri. And that was the real training ground. Now, why was it a real training ground? Because there were certain months whereby I would actually teach about 40 over hours a week. You heard that correct? About 40 over hours a week. Now, if it is just 5 days, it would mean that I would be talking from 9 in the morning until 5 in the evening non-stop. But of course, you can't do that because you have to go for lunch, you have to go to you have to rest for a while, right? So who said I teach 5 days a week? I was teaching 7 days a week because there were some weekend classes as well. And I remembered there were also nights, right? I think 3 evenings a week, I would come back and teach the adult additional classes. And on Saturday and Sunday, I would be teaching the whole day. I would be teaching the executive degree or diploma classes. So that was how I got that 40 over hours a week. Now, when I was going through that, I will tell you, it was painful. Why? Because my throat was really painful. And can you imagine one whole week speaking nonstop? But after I quit that job, and once I started to become a trainer, that was when I began to realize that all the years I taught in the college, about 4.5 years, all the years of teaching, of speaking nonstop, of like training, of conducting classes, of lecturing, of engaging students, all those things really, really helped me to become a better trainer when I started off conducting training. So I would say that initially when I started in the college, I think I pretty suck at first. There were things whereby I didn't know what to do. I was like repeating myself over and over again, and I just wasn't that good. But I think after you have taught for a few thousand hours, you have no other choice but to become better, right? So that is why I totally agree with something that T. Harv Eker said. Now, T. Harv Eker is a very famous trainer. He's a trainer in the field of money, on wealth, and all that. And he said this. He said, "Every master was once a disaster." And if every master was once a disaster, that means that you and I, we are doing pretty well. So we need to give ourselves the opportunity to suck at first before we can actually become good. So I wonder, what are the things that you want to do? Do you suck at it? And if you suck at it, good for you. Because if you persevere, if you continue, if you figure out ways of how to improve it, as long as you don't give up, you will eventually become pretty good at it. I'll see you tomorrow.